Hello everyone, I'm Lean from Studio Kato and I'm really excited that you're checking out my first YouTube video. Today I'll be painting a beach scene and turning it into a card with some MFT stamps. I'm starting out with a piece of Canson Montval 200 TSM watercolor paper. I cut it down slightly larger than A2 size so I could tape it down to my work surface like this. Taping it down will limit the warping, and we'll be working in a lot of layers and drying in between, so that's really important. Here I am just ripping up some purple tape to use as masks. I want to paint some white over top of my watercolor, and I'll be doing that with acrylic paints. Now, my acrylic paint is quite cheap and it's not that opaque. On top of that, it also reactivates the watercolor. So I really want some white space to put down my white crashing waves, as you saw at the start of the video. This doesn't have to be precise at all. In fact, none of this background has to be precise. It's a background that's perfect for beginners because you can really just let the watercolor flow and see how it reacts to being dried with a heat tool, to layers being put on top of it. It lets you explore your watercolors without you having to make sure you have a nice and even wash of color. I'll be painting this in with my Karin Brushmarkers. I really like these markers, especially for coloring in small images. Now for backgrounds, they are perfectly fine to use as watercolor, so you can scribble them down onto an acrylic block and pick them up with a wet paintbrush and use as your regular watercolors. But as I'm using them here, direct to paper and then blending them out, it's not great if you want an even background, because as you can see, they won't blend out perfectly. Now I'm starting out here with a purple. I really like to use purples to deepen up and intensify my blues. One other thing to note about these markers, as you will see in a second, they are a slightly different color when wet than when dry. So you can see the color shift here from a very pink purple to a more bluish tint. This is fine if you know it beforehand, so test out your markers before you start painting. This is true for any medium. So I dried it in between with my heat tool, and now I'm just layering on another layer of blue and drying it again. For this last layer I will scribble some of my marker down onto an acrylic block because I wanted to even things out a little bit. You could really see that corner and the edges where I kept putting my markers down direct to paper. Now I'm using a teal color to add some interest to the background. If you look up top-down pictures of the ocean, you'll also see that the ocean is slightly lighter right before the foam of the crashing waves. So that's what I wanted to achieve here. I blended that out with a round brush. When I want to be a little bit more precise, I do it with a round brush. The other times I used a flat brush in this video. I'm also adding a darker blue on the other side of the foam to make for a bigger contrast between the two colors. To even things out again a little bit, I put down another wash of blue and dried that with my heat tool. I did get some blue on the part where I want the beach to be, so I'm just taking a round brush and some clean water and picking up that color again. After that is dry, I am using sandstone to color in the beach. I am doing that in 2 layers just to intensify the color, no other reason. I heat set that again, and then I am adding some splatter. If you don't want any splatter on your ocean, if you want it to be a bit more even, you can just put down a piece of paper on top of the ocean and mask it off. I didn't bother because, again, I like my ocean to be a little wild. Now the magic moment where I can peel off all the masking. Make sure your panel is completely dry at this point, because if it's slightly wet, still you will pull up some of the paper with your masking. Now I'm die cutting this with the A2 double-stitched nesting rectangles by the ton. They come at a great price point, which is why I love them. I'm just flicking away the dye hairs, as Kathy Zilski calls them. And now it's time for the acrylic painting. The reason I did this after die cutting is because acrylic paint takes ages to dry, especially when you put down a thick layer, which is what I'll be doing because it adds some nice dimension to your card. So I'm dabbing on a really thick layer of white acrylic paint with a round brush. I'm not brushing it on, I'm really dabbing on that color. I want it to be thick because if you heat set this, if you heat set acrylic paint, especially if it's a thicker layer, this will bubble up a little bit and add even more interest to the foam. It will really look like foam then. Now I'm just dragging it back with a dry flat brush. As you can see, as soon as I drag it back, the color turns a light blue, a pool color. And that's exactly why I did the masking. I'm wiping my brush off in between onto the paper, onto the acrylic block, because I don't want too much paint on my brush. I don't want to drag a whole lot of paint back. I want this to be light. And the technique works best with a dry brush. So that's the background done. Now I'm using the Penguins in Paradise stamp set by My Favorite Things. I'll be using the penguin with the float and the little flower that comes in the set, and also the beach ball to have a little fun accessory. I'm stamping that all out onto a scrap piece of Canson Montval 200 GSM watercolor paper. I'm using my Misty so I can double stamp if necessary, because this is watercolor paper. It's slightly textured, so that will help. I also prepped my cardstock with a anti-static powder bag because I'll be clear embossing this. I'm stamping it in Versafine Onyx black ink. And I'm stamping it twice to make it nice. And then I'm using the Wow Clear Gloss Superfine Embossing Powder to add a nice embossed detail to this line art. To color this in, I'm again using my Karin Brushmarkers. I like to shade the white of the penguin with some yellow. The Karin Brushmarkers have a really nice pale yellow that's perfect for shading white critters because it's nice and warm but really light. So when I use these markers, especially to color little images, I just put a little bit of color down at the part I want to be darkest, and then I blend it out with a wet paintbrush. I'm using a really fine paintbrush by Da Vinci. I also really like to work in layers when watercoloring, so you saw me put down a little bit of orange on top of that yellow for the feet and the beak. Now I'm using some purple to paint in the float. and a pink to paint in the flower. Now I thought this was a little pale, so I'll be darkening that up later. I'm painting in the beach ball with as many colors as I can, but when I use the pink and the purple later, I use the same purple and pink I've used before, and this will add some cohesion to all the images. I'm only using the black marker to color my penguin. I'm not using the grays because I'm blending it out anyway with water, so you get all the values you need with just one marker. I'm adding a second layer of the black to deepen up and intensify the shadows, and that's pretty much it. Now I'm stamping out my sentiment. I am using my Misty for this because it allows me to fiddle around with it till it's straight, then just pick it up and stamp it. I'm using Versafine Onyx black ink again, and I will be embossing this as well. Now, this isn't really a scene card, so I die cut a vellum circle with a stitched circle die to make my penguin stand out from the busy background a little bit more. I'm just arranging my images to see how I want them to lay on my card, and then I'll put it all together with some foam tape. I have an A2 sized top folding white note card here, and I'll be using some Barely Art precision craft glue to glue down my background onto my note card. I somehow never cut my note cards the right size, so I'll have to trim off some of the excess. Now I'm using some foam tape. I am folding it over so I have 2 layers of foam tape at once. I'll be adding it to my images first and mounting them onto the vellum so I know where to hide my other adhesive to adhere the vellum onto my card front. I'm putting some more foam tape behind the images onto the vellum. This will float the vellum up a little bit and give a really nice effect and some more dimension, because dimension is life. That's it. This card took me about an hour to make, 40 minutes for the background alone, so I'm not as fast as the sped up video. Thank you so much for watching my first YouTube video, and I hope you subscribe and stay tuned for the next.